many individuals and family members feel to have savings, to have investments. That is possible only with reducing the expenditure. Expenditure less than income, and always there are savings. And if the expenditure is more than the income, there is deficit. If the expenditure is equivalent to income, there is no surplus. Without savings, no investment is possible. Without investment, there is no security of future. So now the alternative is to, because of pandemic situation, what is required, what steps are required to reduce the expenditure, to have savings, to have investments for better future. Now let us see how to reduce the expenditure. Maybe this is a personal expenditure, that is, we have to reduce our expenditure in such a way that is less than our income earned. So that savings, there should be savings which is less than, expenditure is less than income. So how to reduce the expenditure? So once decision is not sufficient in a family, entire family has to cooperate, satisfy, sacrifice to reduce the expenditure at the cost of entertainment. People may not be happy if they compare their lifestyle with their neighbors, friends, relatives, children, friends' parents also. So it will be difficult. It is very difficult to maintain the balance between the expenditure, reducing the expenditure, and having surplus when compared to the society where we are. Then we need the sacrifice not only by individual but also by all family members, and commitment to reduce the expenditure. That is the most important. Otherwise, there may be disputes in family which will be more dangerous than the reducing the expenditure. So entire family's cooperation, confidence, credit is to be required to ensure to have the savings, surplus, investments for their future. We should explain them. It is for their future, for their better future, for secured future. We need savings, and for that purpose, the investments is important. For investment, you need savings. And that savings comes only from reducing the expenditure. That is the inculcation, or that is the information, that is the confidence build up should be made into the minds of family members for tough commitment. And every reduction of expenditure. Suppose if a person is going to a hotel and he wants to go to reduce the expenditure, if he wants to have food and he is at home, that will reduce the expenditure. Of course, health benefits may be there, but that will reduce the expenditure. But that needs the confidence, that needs the support of family members. So every reduction of expenditure is a sacrifice by himself as well as the family members. So every family member should be in a position to cooperate the decision taken by the individual. And whatever the amount saved because of reduction expenditure should be used for investments. It should not be used for wastage of or idle assets or unproductive assets or spending lavishly. But it means just like that, working for the month end, for the month long, and spending on the month end. That should not be the purpose. That should be every reduction of expenditure should have savings. That savings should be invested for the future needs. And how to reduce the expenditure? That is the most important. How to reduce the expenditure? It is not possible. First, list out the expenditure which is possible. What are the amount you are spending every day or every month, every quarterly, every week, and you see that. Out of that, how can you reduce? How can you reduce expenditure which is not required urgently, which is not important, which can be postponed, or which can be avoided, or which can be reduced, and that will give some meaning, some idea that alternative is possible. That alternative will reduce the expenditure. And one more thing is, important thing is, we have to understand that income is uncertain, but expenditure or commitment once we given is certain. So at any cost we have to meet the expenditure. We cannot reduce the expenditure, especially in necessities. We cannot reduce the expenditure. We can postpone the comforts, we can avoid the luxuries, but at least we should have earning to meet the necessities. That is the most important, and that is reducing that expenditure also will very difficult when compared to the social status of the person. And next is, and one more thing, one more important step required is bifurcate the expenditure. Total expenditure is required every month, and out of that, what is necessity? Necessity means electricity bill, children education, rent, necessity, groceries, all these are necessity, we cannot avoid it. We have to meet in the first week of month only. And other thing is comforts, maybe purchasing furniture, maybe purchasing clothes, or all these things are comforts that can be postponed for next month or for next week. But that can be postponed, that is comfort. But when it comes to luxury, having lavish trips or lavish hotel stays or all these things, unnecessary things, that may be avoided. So we have to bifurcate the expenditure in three ways. One is necessity, comfort and luxury. Necessity is compulsory, postpone comforts and avoid luxury. That should be the basic principle to reduce the expenditure. As we discussed earlier, find out the alternatives to reduce the expenditure. You can go for less costly with the same benefit, but benefit should not be compromised. Comfort should not be compromised. Necessity should not be compromised. The benefit should be the same with the reduced expenditure. That is the alternative to reducing the expenditure. Alternative to reduce the expenditure. That is most important. Every product will have alternative. Maybe the reduced cost. So we have to find out the product and the price to understand, to reduce the expenditure. That will lead to savings for investments. Next, one more important thing is required is everyone should have at least 3 months expenditure to meet three months expenditure requirements in cash or deposits to meet unforeseen events. Otherwise it will be very difficult. Last time we have seen last year, many people could not face the day-to-day necessities also. So that led to many disturbances, not only financially but also socially, harmony also affected. The government has to force you to give stimulus packages to many people. So every family should have at least 3 months of savings as expenditure to face unforeseen expenditure, unforeseen events, and one should have at least minimum necessities, minimum amounts to meet the necessities. And how to do that? How to reduce the expenditure? Prepare a plan to how much is for necessities, how much is we are spending, how much we can reduce. And the planning of expenditure is most important. Preparation of expenditure, nature of expenditure, alternatives, and planning for spending. Means the plan should be perfectly implemented to have savings. So that planning is most important, and the planning should be in such a way to have sufficient funds to meet unforeseen events of health, emergency, functions, or you can say education, or home needs, or anything like that. So whatever we are planning, we should have 3 months of expenditure, and another safety fund to meet unforeseen events also. It means approximately we should have at least 5 to 6 months expenditure in liquid form to meet the expenditure as well as to unforeseen events. And savings is must for everyone. Without savings there is no life. Save first, spend next should be the concept. Saving, compulsory savings, and it must for investments and for better future. Better future is always important. Today is important, but tomorrow is most important. Present is fact, but tomorrow is future is uncertain. So we should be prepared to face uncertainty in future also. And finally, all these things is important for the happiness of family. Family happiness is most important. All this we can be compromised, but happiness cannot be compromised. Means the satisfaction of oneself, himself, and family members is most important. Without their cooperation, without their satisfaction, without their confidence, without their cooperation, it is not difficult, and it will be ruining the family itself for the cost of reducing the expenditure. It is better. Happiness is most important of the family member, among the family members, and for individuals, and for better relations among the family members also. That is the most important, and that is the happiness. Family is happy family. Happy family, happiness comes from financial stability. That should be in the mind of all members of the family. Financial stability comes from sacrifice. Sacrifice is due for reducing the expenditure. That leads to savings for investments. So better future, better investments, better happiness in present and future should be ensured.